Hi everyone, I'm Crimson Gunter and today I'm going to be your recreation therapist. Today we're going to be doing an activity called memory gathering. So we have a variety of different materials for us to sift through and try to find things that we feel represent our lives and our memories that are really important to us. And we're going to use the memories that we find today at a later date to comprise our reminiscence boards. So basically we're looking for things that we feel represent who we are, things that are really important to us, reflect our pasts. So today the goal of our activity is to increase our social interaction as well as increase our long-term memory recollection. So if you see a memory that you want to talk through or you want to share with someone, we really encourage you to do that. We want you to talk through this with everyone and share your memories and listen to other people's memories. We're trying to create a positive environment where we can have some conversation and get to know each other a little bit better. Also, with reminiscing, there might be some negative feelings that come up with that. There might be some things that you find overwhelming or challenging to talk about. When those things do arise, I really encourage you to come to me or maybe even just a friend. We are here to support you. This is a positive experience, and we hope this is a positive experience for everyone. And we really want to make sure that you understand that you are supported and you have people here who care about you. We want to learn your stories, but we also want to be here for you now and support you through that. So let's get started. At the end of this video, I will be including links to potential ideas to incorporate onto your reminiscence boards. I will provide, more photos of my reminiscence boards that I've made, and some of the materials that I've used in any of the times that I've made one, just to help increase your ideas and get your juices flowing, and you can use it as reference for when you actually do the activity. So that will be at the end of the video. And if you have any questions for actually doing the activity today, I will also provide my contact information and you can email me with those questions, and I'll be happy to talk to you if you have any more questions or want to talk through some ideas and how to make that happen. I'm available and I'm ready to help. So look out for those. Also, if at any time you are confused about anything that I have said, you do have the opportunity to pause the video, rewind, listen to it again, and if you still have questions, feel free to contact me through email. I'm ready and I'm here for you and would love to help. So remember, pausing is always an option, and for individuals who might have a hard time with hearing, on the video you can turn on your closed captioning and some words will pop up on the bottom of your screen so you can follow along with what I'm saying by reading. And so those are just a few useful tips for accessing this video, but if you have any more questions other than that, feel free to reach out. So first of all, I really want to talk about some of the recommended or necessary materials that are needed to do this portion of the activity. I do want to first off say that this list can be as extensive or as basic as you really feel. You can go specifically into your lives and have your own personalized pictures, or you can just find advertisements and broader things in magazines that you feel reflect you. This is your board and your memories, and so it can be as broad or as specific as you wish. So with that being said, you're definitely going to need scissors. This is really important for doing this activity because we're going to be cutting out things from magazines, things from newspapers. You might need to trim some pictures up and reshape those, or just really anything. You can cut ribbon. It is recommended that we use safety scissors just for everyone's safety, and if you need assistance with cutting, please let someone know. We will be very happy to assist you with that. Okay, so we have our scissors. The next thing that we all have to have for this activity is a Ziploc bag. This is a gallon size bag, so it's big enough to fit whole sheets of paper, It's bigger and can fit more things, so you're not limited on the amount of things that you're allowed to cut out. You can have 5 things, 1 thing on your board. You can have literally 200. It is up to you. This is your board. It is what you make of it. So, but we are going to use the big Ziploc gallon-sized bags, and this is very important. We're going to write everyone's name on their own bag. So when you cut out a memory or you find something that you want to incorporate onto your board, since we're doing that at a different date in a different session, it's going to be really important for you to put your material in your bag. This is how we're going to keep track of everything that you do today, and we're going to be able to find it very easily for that next session when we put everything together. We're going to keep everything safe and together, and we're going to know that it's yours without a shadow of a doubt. So this is very, very important. The next materials are going to be totally up for interpretation. You can take these ideas and run with them. You can use your creativity and think of your own ideas, but these are just some things that I've gotten together that I had on hand that I would incorporate if I were making my own reminiscence board. But you can totally use things that you already have, or make your own list of things. But these are just some things that I think might be helpful, or some good ideas. So here we go. So my first material that is always my go-to when I'm doing this activity is magazines. Magazines are really great because they have lots of pages, lots of different things, visuals, words, all kinds of advertisements, and it's really fun to look through. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt, and you can find things that you feel reflect you. Almost every memory board, vision board that I've ever made, I use magazine clippings. So say, for example, I'm sifting through a magazine and you come across a page that you like this, for example. It has the word happiness in lots of different colors, and I like that word happiness. It just kind of brings up a lot of memories for me. So what I would do is maybe rip out that sheet or just cut out the word happiness, and I'm going to put it in my gallon-sized bag to put on my memory board later. And that's basically what you do with magazines. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. So these are really great tools for this activity. Another thing that I had on hand are these strips of quotes. These are inspirational quotes. I actually got this entire jar of these as a gift, which was a very sweet idea, but once I read them, one a day, I had nothing to do with them. So if you have something like this, or someone's donated, or it's actually really easy to print it out, these are great ways to, add a little literature onto your reminiscence board. You can have quotes by authors that are your favorite, or you can have quotes by maybe a celebrity or a president or someone that was really important to you. This is another example of things that are really flexible in this activity. So it could be a quote, something that you always have said, like a sort of personal slogan of yours. Maybe you say, one in the hand is better than two in the bush. That might be a really cool thing to incorporate onto your memory board, because that's a little piece of who you are, and maybe something that someone else recognizes you by. So those are just some ideas for quotes. I really like this idea because I think words are really important, and they are really great for memories. So I really like this idea. Another idea that kind of makes this memory board a little bit more personalized. I had these greeting cards laying around. This is a birthday card. This one's more of like a thinking of you card, on my mind, in my heart, and it had a sweet little note in it from someone that I really loved. And I think that this is a cool way that could also make your reminiscence board a little bit more interactive or 3D, because the cards, obviously open, and so it's something that you can, go to every day and, open it up, read it, feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So I really like the idea of cards. It adds a personal touch. from people that you love, people that care about you, and just reading them can bring back memories from that person or from that time in your life. So I really like the idea of cards. And kind of branching on top of that, I also have, it's like a card, but it's just a personal note that someone had written me, and it means a lot to me. And just thinking about the person that wrote it also brings up a lot of memories. So this is another type of thing that you can incorporate onto your reminiscence board. I also have this piece of paper. It's something that I got from a little activity that I went to, but I that night wrote down, it's actually my place card from Thanksgiving dinner, but I wrote down what I was thankful for that day. So that's a really cool memory for me. So if you guys who are participating have things around in your room or things that people have sent you in the mail, anything like that that you feel brings you back to a different time, that makes you feel good, those things are great things to incorporate onto your board. So put those in your bag, and maybe when you're making your board, you can try to find a cool place for them. So another thing that I found lying around in my room that I really love for this activity is stickers. This is not something that I had previously thought about when I was making my own personal reminiscence board, but stickers are a lot easier to come by these days. I feel like I am given them all the time. So this is a sticker from Wilmington, North Carolina. This is a sticker from the church that I go to while I'm here. This is a sticker that I got at the state fair, and I love cheerwine, so that's reflected on a lot of memories of me when I'm back home and as a child drinking cheerwine. And I also have these pages of stickers that came in a planner that I had that had ran out of date, and I had all these stickers that I didn't use. So there's American flag stickers, there's beach stickers, there's for vacation, and so I feel like those types of stickers, there's birthday cakes, can also be representations of memories that you've had. So stickers are a really cool way to incorporate memories, and they're really easy to put onto your board at a later date. You just peel it off and stick it there. So I like the idea of stickers a lot. But if there's at any point in the activity where you want to write out maybe like a story, so you want to talk about how you felt the day your child was born, or you want to talk about your wedding day, if you don't find a picture of anything that you feel reflects that memory for you, you're more than welcome to take an index card, a sheet of paper, some markers, pen, literally whatever you want, and just write it down. And so when you go to your reminiscence board after you've put that on, you can go and read the story, and it can take you back to that time. So I really love the handwriting aspect of this activity. So I think that's a really cool thing to add, and it makes it your own. So this next piece is actually an album cover that I had in my room. Obviously, a lot of people might not have this laying around, but if you have posters, if you have articles from the internet, anything that just reflects a hobby of yours, this reflects, my music taste, and that brings back a lot of memories for me. That's something that you can incorporate really easily. And if there's anything that you think of that you don't see during the activity, tell the facilitator, tell your leader, I really want to put this on my memory board. And they can work on the internet and print something out for you, and it'll make it more of your own. So I really challenge you to, think about this a little bit, and if there's specific things that you want to incorporate, even if they're not in front of you, write them down, tell someone, and they can work on making that happen for you. So I love pictures. I think pictures are a great way to tell a story, and I think what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, truly is true. Like, I love pictures. I think they're great for memories, and so if you have any pictures laying around that you want to add to your memory board, or if you don't want to mess up your original copy, you can ask someone at your facility to make a copy of your picture for you, and they can totally do that. This is a picture, these are two pictures of both of my grandparents. Obviously, I didn't want to take their original copy from back in the day because it's just too special, so I took a picture of it, and they look exactly the same. And I can, cut them and glue them, and I'm not ruining the only copy that there is. So that's a really cool idea to put on your memory board if you have older pictures or even more current pictures. I just think that these tell the story of your life in a really great way. These are some examples of cut pictures, and this just makes it easier to put more things on your board if you size them down like this, and they also create funkier shapes so they can add more interest to your reminiscence board, and there's just not a bunch of blocks on your board, but that's totally up to you. If it's just dependent on your style and what you like. So like I said, this activity really is what you make of it, and you can make it as intensive or as basic, and whatever level you want. This is just another picture. Pets are a great thing to also include because they're really big parts of our lives. So pictures of your animals or just animals that you like are great factors to add into this. So another way that I thought of today, actually, to add interest to your reminiscence board is flowers. These are obviously real flowers. They're not holding up as well as I thought they would from when I picked them. So maybe artificial flowers would be more the way to go, or pressed flowers. But I think they're a really cool way to add a more three-dimensional element to your board, some cool colors. And if you love gardening or have had flowers at any point in your life that really matter to you, or you have like a favorite flower, this is a cool way to display that memory on your board. I also found these dried flowers, and I think they're really cool and pretty. So you can use artificial flowers, you can use pressed flowers, you can use dried flowers, really whatever you have. If you have flowers from old decorations maybe that someone's willing to let you have for the purpose of this activity, it's just another cool thing that you can put on your board. Also, flower seeds. If you have any packets of flower seeds laying around, maybe the seeds have gone bad, or maybe you've just never gotten around to planting those seeds, maybe just gluing the seed onto your reminiscence board could be a cool way to reflect that you love gardening. Scent is also a great way to stimulate your memory. So if you have a perfume that you wear or a smell of someone that you really like, if you have access to that, you can put that in your bag, and so when you do create your board, you can spray that perfume on there, or maybe have little pieces of lavender, maybe even, or just a scent that is reflectant to you. So maybe you can tape some mints on there and have that smell on your board. These are just ways to make your board more interactive, and also stimulating of your memory in more ways than just visually. So I really like the idea of using scent on your board somehow to help jog your memory and bring back your past. So another component that I really love the idea of incorporating onto your memory boards are fabrics. I think that they add interest as far as texturally, as well as great memories that go along with those. So pieces of lace, ribbon, old shirts of yours or someone else that you love are all great things that can be used, little clippings of on your board to help stimulate those memories by touch, as well as the visuals of those pieces. So I really love the incorporation of fabrics. You can use doilies, you can use yarn if you're a knitter, or maybe just pieces of lace or ribbon to help reflect some memories. It's just whatever comes to mind when you see those little things. So that's another way to add some interest to your board and give it some texture. So now that I've shown you a variety of different materials that are available for you to use during this activity, if there's anything else that maybe you've thought of that you think would be a cool addition to the activity, something that you would like to incorporate that you feel reflects your life a little bit more than the provided materials, voice that. Tell us what you would like to incorporate, and we can try to make that happen for you. In case you're stuck and you're looking at magazines and you don't really know some types of things that you can, pick out. Most of mine did come from magazines. I used some internet sources too, like Googled some things. But I really just want to show you these examples for the purpose of showing you how even little simple things that you might not think of in a magazine can be used to express your memories and the things that matter to you. So here are my examples of things that I've made to help get your ideas flowing too. So my first example is my first board that I ever made. This one's probably my biggest one too. It's on a big poster board. And the thing that is different about this one is the only materials that I used were magazines. So I got all of this information from a magazine. It does have a lot of words on it and less pictures, but I do have a purpose for everything that I put on there, and that's sort of the goal of this activity, is finding different components to put on your board that serve a purpose for you. So maybe some people might not know the meaning behind the things that you're choosing, and that's totally okay because it's your board. But as long as you know why it's important to you and what it reflects in your life, that's all that matters. So, for example, I have a picture of cowboys that I found in a magazine, and I chose this because I grew up going to my grandparents' house, and the only thing that we would watch on TV is Westerns, and that's just a really fun memory that I've always had. It's kind of a joke in my family, and it's something that I'll always remember about my time at my grandparents' house. So looking at that picture, you might not know what it means, but to me, it has a significant meaning in my life, and that's the goal. Another thing, I have roses, pink roses, because I love that flower. I have the Eiffel Tower because it reminds me of, some travel adventures that I have. But I have a lot of quotes as well. A lot of them are religious quotes, which are bring back memories from, growing up in the church and how important my faith is to me, and that's a really big part of my life. So that's something that I definitely wanted to add. I also have a quote from Anne of Green Gables because I love that book. So that's just an example. This is just an example of how words and quotes and some visuals, but mostly quotes, can be used to show some memories in your life. People don't always have to understand what it means, but it's reflective of you, and that's the biggest takeaway. So this example is sort of something that I made in art class, and when I made it, I wasn't really thinking about it as a memory board or anything. I just found a lot of different visuals from magazines of things to me that represent a part of my life that I am interested in. There's a lot of black and white photos. There's a lot of influential, famous people that I have always really admired. So that's a big part of my life. And the glamour aspect of it is a sort of side of me. So that's how I can kind of interpret it to be a memory board for me. But this is just another example to show you the things that can be found in magazines. So obviously Marilyn Monroe, that might be something that a lot of you really remember from your past. She might have been your favorite actress at the time, or Audrey Hepburn's included, and Elizabeth Taylor as well. Stevie Nicks is my favorite, recording artist, so that's a really big thing that I incorporated. And Farrah Fawcett is on here a couple times. She was really big during her time, and Jackie Kennedy also as well. That's a big time in history. So this could be looked at as a reminiscence board for maybe some of you all. But to me, it was just something that I found a lot of different things that appealed to me in my life. So this is just another example of how you can customize something that you found from a magazine and make it really creative, make it reflectant of things that you enjoy or matter to you, and how you can kind of arrange it. And so this uses pictures and words, and I have lips just to add some interest in some different shapes. So this is a cool example of that. Memory board example that I made that reflects a different time in the past, the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, and maybe how this grows up. This might be more of a vision board for my grandparents, because this is a lot of the things that they've told me about. I wasn't alive during a lot of this time, but I wanted to make one with this format where all the pictures were sort of the same size, but there's different components in it. The four corners, for me, kind of represent a foundation. So that has pictures of their home and pictures of my grandma and my grandpa and the children and some memories with them. So that's kind of like the anchors of the project. So you can find ways to make, symbols and representations that are deeper than just this is my memory. So it's really an opportunity to be creative. But some other things that I included in this one are cars and the Good Housekeeping cookbook, because that's something that my grandma always has. 15-cent hamburgers at McDonald's. So think about, things that you used to enjoy or things that you used to even eat. It can be things as simple as food that you include. Rotary phone and typewriter, that can kind of take you back to your days in that time where that was, the technology that you used and relied on. So, or maybe even, your job, you had a lot to do on the phone. So everything can have a specific meaning to you, and it's all about your memories and the things that are reflected upon your life. I used a picture from an old sewing pattern because I know that used to be a big thing in that time where, people would make their own clothes from these patterns. I used dancing, swing dancing, and a farmer priming tobacco. So it can be things like this. You might have to have some of these things printed out, but I just wanted to show you this example to show you that there are so many opportunities to practice your creativity and really reflect the story of your life. I feel like looking at this, you can tell that agriculture was a big part of their life, and music and television and family and technology of the time. So this is a really cool example, and it shows a little bit more structure. This is a little bit more basic structure with, the 4x4 columns and rows. It's just a little bit more clean lines and simple. So this is another example of a reminiscence board that I made with some different materials. I just wanted to give an idea of different things that could be added. So I included a piece of sheet music that I got off the internet from an old hymn, a very known hymn, and I thought that was a really cool thing to add. So if you go to a yard sale and you see an old hymn book, you can use that and take the pages out of that and put that as a material out on the tables for participants to use as a material. I printed out on here some more pictures of, vintage greeting cards. So there's a Valentine's card, because that was a big thing stationary during that time, a lot bigger than it is now. I used a North Carolina postcard, so you can reflect where you're from in that way. I have a picture again of a sewing pattern in the drive-in movie. These are things that are really indicative of the time period of the past. So these are just a few more ideas of materials that you can be looking out for on the internet. They're a little bit more specific, so the internet would probably help with getting you these materials, but this just provides a little bit more of a individualized touch and a variety, so not everyone's boards will be looking the same. It's going to be unique to each participant and really tell a personalized story. But with this reminiscence board, I really wanted to show this example because I wanted to display how you can use your creativity in this activity and prepare for that now for when you do create your board. So, when you're cutting out things, you can cut them out in different shapes and sizes and look for things of different colors to sort of reflect your own style. Your style on your reminiscence board is just another way to reflect your life story and your journey. And so, like for this one, I use totally different shapes. I have circles, I have, the little heart, I have things arranged in different ways, and I have them layered and stacked so it's not as blocky and organized and concise, and that just reflects my personal style. But that is something that comes from this stage of the activity where you're planning out what you're going to put on it, so we can prepare for that now, so when you do make your reminiscence boards, that creativity can be reflected. I know one of my other examples, the theme of that board was all black and white, and there was some red accents in there, throughout it, and so that was the theme. So if you want to have a theme where your whole reminiscence board is just black and white because it kind of takes you back to your past, and sort of reflects that layer of it, that's totally fine and up to you, and that's a creative choice that you get to make because this is your board and it's all about what you're making it. If you want to do a board like the other one that I showed you that was blocks and they're all the same size, you can be looking for materials today that are, can be cut in shapes that are all the same, roughly the same size, and maybe even color schemes. So these are just some things for you guys to be thinking about when you're looking through all the different materials that you have provided for what you're going to incorporate onto your boards. I'm going to have everyone take all their materials that they found today in the activity and safely put them in their baggie. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to write everyone's name on their baggie so we know whose is whose, and they're going to be locked up, sealed up tight so that nothing gets away from us, and we know when we are going to make our reminiscence boards next time whose is whose, and that their materials are all there. So this is a very important step in this activity. I want to take a minute to kind of have a discussion before we wrap up today's activity. Let's talk about how this activity made us feel. Did anyone reflect on some memories that they might want to share with the group? If so, share them now. Was there anything about this activity that you really liked? Is there anything that you struggled with? Are there anything that you thought of that you would like to add to your board that you might need I or someone else from the facility to try to get for you, like things that we can look up online or find clippings of, or photos that you want copies of? If so, please tell us and we can work on getting those for you for when you create your board. And lastly, I really want to thank everyone for their cooperation today. I hope that reminiscing and gathering your memories has been a positive experience for you. We really wanted this to be a fun activity to help you guys increase your conversation with each other and reflect on your past and the things that have made you who you are. So thank you all for cooperating and being such a great group. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.